Well, what a great day it is today. Outside, it's just a beautiful day. It's been kind of cold and stormy lately, but today it's just like everything's coming together. Don't you have some of those days that you just feel so, so good? I feel so good because I've been actually sick for a whole month almost. So it's good when you can say, "Oh, thank you, Lord. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling well." And today is the day that the Lord hath made, and we want to rejoice and be glad in it. Well, we're on lesson 54. This reminds me of lesson 54. What is it? It's a shield of faith with a cross on it. I'm not going to tell you, but as we go through, I'll get this shield out when I think that it reminds me of what we're talking about. Okay? Also, this lesson is a pretty foundational lesson that you'll need to know throughout history. Almost every Christian needs to know this lesson. Almost every non-believer needs to know this lesson too. But let's start off some facts. First of all, the lesson is lesson 54, and it is Roman Emperor Constantine puts his faith in Jesus. What? A Roman emperor put his faith in Jesus? How did that happen? We need to know. If this could be the headlines of the day in the year of 300, this would be it, huh? The Roman emperor puts his faith in Jesus. Because so far, all we heard about was persecution of Christians, haven't we? And then there were some other words. I'm going to give them to you now, and then at the end of the lesson, we're going to go over them again and see if you know what they mean. Because this lesson is kind of something you need to know. If you had a test in history, this lesson would probably be on your test. So the first word is Milvian Bridge. Milvian Bridge? What kind of bridge is that? Well, it's a famous bridge, and we're going to be talking about this famous bridge and why it was so famous in our lesson. Let's see if we have another one. An edict. An edict is like a pronouncement, is like, I want to pronounce, I want to show you, I want to or more than pronouncement, a proclamation. That's a better word for it, a proclamation. The Edict of Milan. Well, I'll give you a clue. Milan's in Italy. So we're going to be talking about Rome, aren't we? Number 2, a famous edict. Number 3, a famous creed. What is a creed? Is something we believe in. Like the Apostles' Creed, we believe in what they were believing in, right? So we have the Nicene Creed. Can you say that? Nicene Creed. What does a creed have to do with Rome? We'll find out in a little bit. Okay, number 4, a city, a new city. Well, it was an old city that was changed into a new city. Constantinople. Constantinople. Well, we'll find out what the city used to be called. And even today, they've changed the name again, and it's in Turkey. Actually, it's called Istanbul. I don't know if you've ever been to Istanbul. Probably not. But maybe if you're flying around, flew to Israel, you might have went through Istanbul. It's in Turkey, a Muslim nation of the Ottoman Turks. Well, anyway, so what's that have to do with the Roman Empire? Well, a clue, look at this name. Constantinople? Maybe it has to do with Constantine, huh? The last one I'm going to give you a clue. Saint Helena. Well, of course we know there's not really saints, so per se, as some religious people think, but a saint is someone that knows Jesus. When we get to heaven, the saints, we're all going to be saints there, because a saint is someone that has had their sins taken away or covered by Jesus' blood. And so we're white as snow. We're saints. When we come to the Lord, He makes us saints. And I hate to think about that because I do not feel I'm a saint. Do you? But the thing is, this woman, people thought she was a really strong Christian, and her name was Helena. I wonder who Helena was. There's a lot of different questions we have here, isn't there? Well, let's start out on our journey. This might take us a a couple lesson times, I should say. But we're going to get through it. And I do love, sometimes I have to tell you something, that when we study this, I have people that aren't Christian that think absolutely the opposite than I think through this lesson. As a Christian, we look at through Christianese eyes, or Christianize, I should say. Not ease, because Christianese means maybe fake Christian, but as real, looking through the eyes of faith. What was this Roman emperor like? And what really happened here? And what was the ramifications of what happened? Well, let's find out. Let's find out, who was Constantine. Can you say that? Constantine. He was a Roman emperor. So far, we just saw the Roman emperors just being pagans and wanting to be worshipped. And now we have Constantine. And we're going to find out how he was different. This is a very significant thing in world history because it would change the world. So far, for 300 years after Jesus lived, Christians were being persecuted, even to the point of put to death in arenas of lions and wild animals, or burned at the stake. I mean, terrible things were happening, and these Roman emperors were not considered very good, as far as I'm concerned. They were considered very evil. So, time goes on, we're going to have another Roman empire. But how would the world change under Constantine? Well, let's talk about Constantine a little bit. He was born on the Balkan Peninsula in 274. We've studied that peninsula. Remember Pannonia or Pannonia? And remember Sopiene? Do you remember Spalatum in Dalmatia? Yeah, those are kind of cities out there in the midst of all that. Do you remember the Illyrians? The Illyrians? Well, we're going to be talking about more Illyrians. Remember Diocletian was the emperor, and he retired. Well, when he retired, Rome started falling apart again, of course. Whenever there's a change in emperors, we have this fight who's going to be emperor next. So when Diocletian retired, Constantine, let's talk about Constantine. He was born in 274, I said, on the Balkan Peninsula. But his father was an Illyrian. Yes, from Docia, and his name was Constantius. Constantius. And Constantius was probably from close, Docia, maybe close to Spalatum. But anyway, we know he was an Illyrian. And he became second in charge under Maximian in the Western Empire. Maximian ran the Western Empire, even though Diocletian was in charge. His mother, Constantine's mother, was from a poor family, and her name was Helena. Remember the name Helena I talked about? She may have had Christian ties. Of course, there were a lot of people in that whole area that had heard the gospel and were secret Christians. She may have been a secret Christian. Anyway, going back to his father left Constantine. Constantine had grown up, he was probably in his teens and in his early 20s, and he left Constantine to serve with Diocletian. So here's Constantine serving with Diocletian, a die-hard pagan that believed that he was the son of Jupiter. That's who he served under in the Eastern Empire. In the meantime, Constantius, which is Constantine's father, goes and divorces his mother, Helena. And he marries the stepdaughter of Maximian. So we have a broken family here. So in 305, Maximian is in the west and Diocletian is in the east. And so we have these two big emperors. Constantius they retire, and Constantius, Constantine's father, declares himself to be Augustus Caesar of the Western Empire. Remember, he was the second in charge, and now Maximian, he retires, and so Constantius just thinks, well, I'm it, And so then he requests his son, Constantine, to join him in what is now France. So, Why would you think he'd be going to France? Well, because there were wars going up. People were rebelling up towards France. But not just France. France wasn't France then, of course, but England. That's where he wanted to go. So he gets his son Constantine. He says, we're going to battle. There's stuff going on in England. Maybe they want to take over the Roman hot tubs. I don't know. But as they go to England, the Pits, which were considered the Scottish, were attacking. And so it was pretty easy. They had a big Roman army there. So Constantius went, and he was victorious. His father was victorious. But something else happened. He was killed. So Constantine's father is killed. So what happens next? Well, the army right away, they need a leader. So they said, Constantine, you're our leader. In fact, we're declaring you that you are the Emperor of Rome. And so in York, England, he was declared the Emperor of Rome. But all of people would not really agree with that, because civil war broke out between Constantine and Maxentius, or I'll just call him Max. And he was the son of Maximian. So Max here, Max decides to declare that he is the Emperor of Rome. And so we're going to have some kind of fight here. Both wanted to be the Emperor of Rome, and they were both pagans, and they were both Illyrians. So it would be like the same. If either one of them became the emperor, they would probably be the same and being like the same kind of person. But something happened. I have to tell you, something happened. And this was pretty amazing. In 312, Constantine led his troops to invade Maximian's son's army. He confronted him and his soldiers, they had a big army too, outside of Rome. And the battle was at the Milvian Bridge. Remember that? The battle was at the Milvian Bridge. Famous battle. So what happens? Well, so what? Two, Roman empires are fighting and one's going to become emperor, right? But this was a famous battle. Constantine won, Max was killed, and now Constantine would be emperor. But the thing is, something really strange happened before this at this battle at Milvian Bridge. Constantine prayed to the true and living God, Jesus Christ. You see, he had had a vision or a dream. We're not sure that Jesus was God and that he was going into this battle with Jesus. And so the next thing he did is he went and he took and he put a cross on every shield, on all of the shields of his all of his soldiers that had a shield had a cross on their shield. And so then he thought, what happened? He goes, is this true? Is Jesus, are you true? And as he went into battle, he looked up to the sun, and above the sun, there was a cross, a lighted cross from the sun. And so he thought, certainly, that Jesus is the true and living God. And that seeing that cross, he thought, in this sign, I will conquer. So he wrote, in this sign of the cross, I will conquer. So he went into this Milvian Bridge in Jesus' name. And he conquered Max. And he conquered the West, the Western Empire, and he became the emperor. So, let's go on. How exciting. Now we have a Roman emperor that is talking about Jesus at least, and trusting Jesus for his battle. So let's see what happens next.